Hello students, welcome to Unit 3, Week 2, Day 2. Make sure you have your meaning mapper, article a day, and your book of knowledge with you, as well as some paper and pencil to write with. Today we will learn about the history of the United States Constitution and how important it is to our country. Let's get started. Before reading, let's go back to our focus word, decorate. When you decorate something, you're trying to make it prettier, you're trying to make it more fun. So choose one of the four pictures and write a sentence that describes what is happening in the picture. Make sure you use our focus word, decorate. I'm going to choose to describe the word on the bottom left. I see that the kids are decorating a Christmas tree. You could have also chosen the one on the bottom right where it looks like someone is decorating a cake, the top left where someone is decorating their home, or the top right where it looks like someone is decorating their notebook. Any of them will be just fine. Let's get started with our article today, We the People. Based on what you see in the picture, what kind of event or celebration is the author going to talk about in this article? Based on this picture, I can see that he's going to talk about a celebration that is American here in the United States because of the flag. Let's see. Fast facts. The U.S. Constitution was signed in 1787. Learn more below. The Constitution was written by hand. It has more than 4,000 words and starts, We the People. Here on the right, we see the U.S. Constitution, which was written in 1787 by hand. Our country had only 13 states when the Constitution was written. It has 50 states today. So in 1787, when the Constitution was written, our country only had 13 states, but here's a country now with 50 states. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest person to sign the Constitution. At the time, he was 81. Here's Benjamin Franklin, who signed the U.S. Constitution, and you might recognize him from our $100 bill. Letter from the past. A letter from George Washington was found recently. A 10-year-old girl had saved it in a scrapbook in 1826. So it looks like here is the letter, and she had saved it in a scrapbook, which was a book she kept with information. The letter was sent to her grandfather, Jacob Morris. The girl lived in New Jersey. Her name was Julia Keene. Washington wrote the letter in 1787. At that time, he was meeting with other leaders to create the U.S. Constitution. There's the U.S. Constitution, and when you create something, you make something completely new. In Spanish, we say crear. So he was making the Constitution for the very first time. In the letter, Washington wrote that the country's happiness depended on what leaders decided. So depended means depender, and when you decide something, you think about it and make a choice about what is best. In Spanish, we say decidir. So the country's happiness depended on what the leaders decided for the country. 2 years later, he became our country's first president. The letter is important, say history experts. It helps people learn more about our country's past. Celebrate Constitution Day. Get to know the U.S. Constitution. Constitution Day is September 17th. On that day, students across the United States will learn about the Constitution. Here's the Constitution on the right. The Constitution is a written plan that tells the laws of our country. A law is a rule. So the Constitution tells all the laws that are in our country. A group of leaders wrote the United States Constitution more than 200 years ago. George Washington was one of those leaders. So was Benjamin Franklin, as we learned. Now I want you to take out your book of knowledge and I want you to write down or draw 2 or 3 things that you learned from the article today. So take a moment to go ahead and do that now. As usual, I want to go back to my article and find evidence for what I learned. So the first thing I learned is that the Constitution was signed in 1787. So I'm going to write that down. I learned that the Constitution was signed in 1787. Another thing that I learned is that the Constitution tells the laws of our country. So I'm going to write that down. I also learned that the Constitution tells the laws of our country. Now, this makes me think of the time that I went to Washington, D.C., and I actually saw the U.S. Constitution. And I put a picture of it here on the right. And that, they have it very well protected because it's a very important document. So this makes me think of when I went to Washington, D.C., and saw the U.S. Constitution. Now I want us to go back to our meaning mapper. In the middle, we have the word decorate, and when we decorate something, we're trying to make it prettier, we're trying to make it look better. We already wrote down the words cake and traditions, but after reading this article, what other words can you put in your meaning mapper that connect to the word decorate? Make sure to write those down now. I wrote down the word event because when you have a special event, you usually decorate, such as a birthday. You make sure you decorate and you have balloons and things like that. The last thing I want you to do is to add the word event to your word. And that's it for me, students. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all next time.